Hey everyone, welcome to our camp with another recap. Today, I want to tell you the story of a young woman from Glasgow who dreams of becoming a country singer, but after a year in prison and with 2 kids to care for, that dream feels out of reach. Until one day, a chance shows up and she has to decide what matters more, her dream or her kids. If you enjoy it, please don't forget to like and subscribe. The story begins a year ago when Rosalind was imprisoned for carrying a package of heroin. Now, after serving her sentence, she's finally being released, though she's required to wear an electronic ankle monitor and stay within a restricted area before 7 in the evening every day. After her release, she returns to her mother's house. When the door opens, Marion freezes. She had no idea her daughter was getting out that day. Lyle, Rosalind's younger son, runs to hug her excitedly, but when Nana, her older daughter, doesn't share that feeling, because to her, Rosalind feels like a stranger. Rosalind changes into her old clothes and sits down for dinner. She expected her kids to be thrilled to see her, but they seem more comfortable around their grandmother. After dinner, Marion tells Rosalind she needs to find a job right away and rebuild her life. Rosalind still dreams of becoming a country singer, but Marion dismisses it as nothing more than a fantasy and suggests she work as a maid in the same house where Marion works.
I've got my talent and I'm going to use that.
You've not been watching telly, because I tell you something, there's no shortage of folk who can sing.
Offended, Rosalind promises herself she'll find a way to reach Nashville, where all the country stars are. The next morning, Rosalind visits the bar where she used to perform, but they've already hired a new singer. When she realizes the replacement is someone she's always disliked, she tries to hold herself back. But when he talks to her condescendingly, she loses control, attacks him, and storms out of the bar. Days pass, and no one will hire her because of her record. The pressure builds until she finally accepts her mother's offer and goes to work at the house where Marion is employed. The homeowner, Susanna, is a kind woman who knows nothing about Rosalind's past. She instantly likes her and hires her on the spot. When Susanna leaves the house for a few hours, Rosalind's curiosity takes over. She snoops around the rooms, finds the liquor cabinet, takes a sip from every bottle, raises her voice, and imagines herself on stage with a live band. For a few minutes, she feels like a star again, until Susanna's children suddenly walk in and stare at her in shock, nearly giving her a heart attack.
Jesus, Bob! You just gave me a shock.
After work, Rosalind heads to the new house she's rented so she can live with her kids again. The police install a monitoring phone for her to answer whenever they call about the ankle tracker. When Marion gets ready to leave, little Lyle clings to her, saying he wants to stay with her. Rosalind hugs him tightly, letting Marion go. But once she's gone, the house feels cold and silent. The kids barely speak, and Rosalind starts feeling like a failure as a mother. So she promises them they'll go out for pizza the next day. The following day, Rosalind finds out that Susanna's kids have told their mom about her singing. When Rosalind opens up to her, she admits that singing has always been her dream. But in this town, there's no future for her, and Nashville is her only hope. After work, she stops by a bar, but when she leaves, she realizes it's only 25 minutes before 7. She runs as fast as she can, panting, and makes it home just in time to answer the phone when it rings.
Hello, Galloway's the Butchers. What can I get you?
Her hands are still trembling. Then she sees Marion standing there and suddenly remembers she completely forgot about the pizza promise. Furious, Marion scolds her and ends up taking the kids with her. The next day, when Rosalind goes to work, country music is playing in the house, and Susanna has grown fond of it. Rosalind gathers her courage and asks Susanna for $5,000 so she can go to Nashville. Shocked that her maid would make such a request, Susanna refuses and tells her she can't. Rosalind bluntly replies that the money means nothing to someone like her. Instead, Susanna suggests she find someone to sponsor her. Rosalind mentions the only person she knows, Bob Harris, but he's in London. Susanna decides to help her anyway. She convinces Rosalind to record a video of herself singing and upload it online. When Rosalind starts singing, it seems normal at first, but within seconds, Susanna and her kids are stunned by her voice. Susanna is certain she's discovered real talent. When Susanna's husband returns home and sees how close the family has become with Rosalind, he grows suspicious and decides to look into her past. The next day, Susanna brings incredible news that the video reached Bob, and he wants to meet Rosalind in London. It's the best thing Rosalind's heard in ages. When she tells Marion, Marion reminds her that she can't leave town because of her ankle monitor. Determined, Rosalind goes to see a lawyer. She explains that she didn't know there was heroin in the package she was carrying. The lawyer hesitates at first, but eventually agrees to take the case. In court, the judge finally approves the removal of her monitor. Susanna buys Rosalind a first-class train ticket and lends her money for the trip. On the train, Rosalind makes friends and enjoys the ride, but when she returns to her seat, her bag is gone. All her money and documents were inside. The police at London Station can't do anything to help. Rosalind refuses to let this ruin her only chance. She starts running all the way to the BBC building until she finally makes it. Bob's producer notices her and brings her to him. Rosalind can barely contain her excitement from meeting one of her country idols.
You must be Rosalind.
I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it's you.
Bob gives her a tour of the studio and tells her she has an amazing voice. But there's one big problem. She has to write her own songs. Until she does, no one will truly know her. Rosalind knows he's right, but deep down, she feels she has nothing left to turn into music. On her way back, she keeps replaying Bob's words in her mind. She doesn't want to give up. The next morning, she visits Susanna and tells her the meeting went great and that she's more determined than ever to make it to Nashville. Susanna had been planning a party, but to help Rosalind, she decides to turn it into a backyard concert so her friends can donate money toward Rosalind's trip. Rosalind thinks Susanna's crazy for going to all this trouble for her maid, but Susanna insists. Rosalind has 1 week to prepare for the performance. Coincidentally, school is out that week, so Lyle and Winona will be home. Rosalind tells Marion about the concert and asks her to watch the kids for a few days, but Marion refuses. She thought Rosalind had finally come to her senses and was ready to focus on her children. When she finds out Rosalind still plans to go to Nashville, she yells at her, saying she has no right to disappoint her kids again. Things get harder for Rosalind. She leaves the kids with her mother's friend and focuses on her own work. She rehearses with her band every day, leaving the kids in someone else's care. This only makes them resent her again, but Rosalind chooses to stay committed to her music. With just a few days left before the party, her band comes over to Susanna's house to set up their equipment. When it's time to leave, Susanna's husband offers to drive Rosalind home. During the ride, he tells her that he knows everything about her time in prison, and that after this, she should stay away from his family. Holding back tears, Rosalind gets out of the car and brings the kids back home. When they arrive, she sees one of her friends waiting at the door. She stays outside for a few minutes to talk, but suddenly a loud noise comes from inside. Rosalind rushes in, and they end up at the hospital because Lyle's arm is broken. When the nurse asks Rosalind if Lyle has any allergies, she doesn't know, but Winona quickly answers that he's allergic to fabric casts. The hospital is overcrowded, so they have to stay there until morning. The doctor says Lyle's arm needs a cast, but he has to remain under observation for a few more hours. Meanwhile, Rosalind, who has several missed calls from Susanna about that night's party, is on edge. Marion arrives to take Winona home, but Rosalind asks her to stay and help. This is Rosalind's last chance, and Marion agrees, but not out of kindness. She's lost all hope in her daughter and thinks it's better for the kids to come back and live with her, so Rosalind can chase her foolish dream, even if it means losing her family. Marion's words shatter Rosalind. She goes home and gets ready, but drinks heavily just to numb herself. At Susanna's house, everyone's waiting for her. Susanna invites her up on stage. The band is ready, and the music starts. But the real problem is Rosalind herself. As the crowd waits for her to begin singing, she suddenly steps down from the stage and walks away. Susanna runs after her to find out what's wrong, but Rosalind just hugs her tightly and thanks her for everything. Then she confesses that she isn't who she pretended to be, and even admits to having been in prison. Susanna is too stunned to say a word as Rosalind walks away. That night, Rosalind returns to her children and decides she'll never leave them again. They start to feel like a real family once more, and Rosalind spends more time with them than ever before. Marion is glad to see this, but she also realizes her daughter is no longer the same person. Rosalind has lost all hope and ambition for herself, until one day, Marion comes to her house and hands her an envelope full of money. Rosalind is confused. Marion tells her she only wanted her to take responsibility for her life, not to lose her hope. She offers to look after the kids for a while. Rosalind immediately sets out for Nashville. Just as she imagined, the streets are filled with the sound of country music. She visits one of the city's famous bars, but the waiter tells her that if she wants to perform, she needs a reservation, and the waiting list could take weeks since singers come from all over the country. The next morning, she visits the building where country music was first born. While the tour guide explains its history, Rosalind steps onto the stage and faces 1,000 empty seats. She begins to sing, and in her mind, she imagines a full band playing behind her. Exactly 1 year later, those seats are no longer empty. Rosalind performs before a huge crowd. Marion is prouder than anyone, and even Susanna and her family come to watch. The audience cheers wildly as Rosalind sings, and at last she establishes herself as one of the country's newest rising stars. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, you know what to do.